The eyes of the Senate and all Rome are upon us today. We must make them proud that we are their defenders. More than that, our Roman gods are watching. Make sure they are not ashamed.
This battle was not our choosing, but never let it be said we Rasna back down from a fight. Draw your weapons, stand ready, and prepare to hold your ground.
The expulsion of Tarquinius Superbus from Rome marked a turning point in the city's history as it ended the monarchy and established the Republic. After Tarquinius instigated Etruscan king Porsenna to restore his power in Rome, the Senate unanimously voted against granting asylum to the former king, choosing instead to open their doors to their enemies than to surrender their freedom. This decision convinced Porsenna to abandon any plans of supporting the Tarquins and instead freed the last Roman hostages in his possession and ensured compliance with the treaty on the Janiculum. Tarquinius then sought refuge in Tusculum with his son-in-law Octavius Mamilius, who succeeded in inciting hatred among 30 Latin cities against Rome, leading to the suggestion of appointing a dictator for the first time. While there is disagreement among sources about the year and names of the consuls appointed as the first dictator, most historians refer to Titus Lartius as the dictator and Spurius Cassius as Magister Equitum. The dictator proposed a truce against the Sabines to concentrate forces against the Latins, who Tarquinius had gained the support of the Etruscan cities of Tarquinia and Veii to fight alongside him to reclaim the Roman throne. However, despite an uncertain outcome of the battle, the Etruscan army was taken by panic, leading to a failed enterprise as both armies of Veii and Tarquinia returned to their countries during the night. Tarquinius then pinned his hopes on the Latin League, but the Romans had already conquered Crustumerium and besieged Fidene during the consulship of Titus Aebutius and Caius Vitugio, with Praeneste also passing from the Latins to the Romans. The news of Tarquinius' presence among the ranks of the Latin army sparked outrage among the Romans, leaving them no choice but to engage in a war with the Latins after years of hesitation. Regarding the deployment of forces on the field, we have to leave for a moment the news of Titus Livius, who did not inform us about it, and rely on the data provided to us by Dionysius of Halicarnassus, in his Roman Antiquities, with the translation of Marco Mastrofini. Sextus Tarquinius was posted on the left wing of the Latins and Octavius Mamilius on the right. Titus, the other son of Tarquinius, held the center, where also the Roman deserters and exiles were posted. And, all their horse being divided into 3 bodies, 2 of these were placed on the wings and 1 in the center of the battle line. The left of the Roman army was commanded by Titus Aebutius, the master of the horse, who stood opposite to Octavius Mamilius, the right by Titus Virginius, the consul, facing Sextus Tarquinius. The center of the line was commanded by the dictator Postumius in person, who proposed to encounter Titus Tarquinius and the exiles with him. Dionysius does not inform us in detail about the exact positioning of the Roman cavalry, which will, as we will see, a major role in the course of the battle. Probably, according to the Roman military tradition, the knights were on the wings, leaving to the infantry the center of the field. Using the same text, Dionysius informs us, in a totally arbitrary way, the whole of the militia came to fight were 24,000 infantry and 3,000 horsemen in the Roman field and 40,000 infantry and 3,000 horsemen in the Latin field. The battle was extremely intense and fierce, with the commanders personally joining the fight. Both sides suffered heavy casualties, except for the Roman dictator, who emerged unharmed. Postumius, the Roman commander, led from the front and encouraged his troops. However, he was attacked by Tarquinius Superbus, the Latin commander, who was much older and physically weaker than Postumius. Despite being wounded, Postumius managed to escape with the help of his men. At the other end of the battlefield, Abusius engaged Octavius Mamilius in combat. Tusculum's commander, however, noticed the maneuver and charged towards Abusius, resulting in a violent collision of their spears. Abusius was wounded in the arm, while Mamilius was hit in the chest. The Latins protected Mamilius by moving him to the second line, but Abusius was unable to continue fighting with his injured arm and had to leave the battlefield. The Latin commander, disregarding his own wound, attempted to reignite the conflict by ordering the Roman exiles, led by a son of Lucius Tarquinius, to join the battle. The exiles, furious and motivated by their loss of property, were briefly able to turn the tide of the battle. During the battle, the Romans were in full retreat when Marcus Valerius, brother of Publicola, noticed that young Lucius Tarquinius was exposed in the front rows of the exiles. Driven by a desire for glory for his family and the opportunity to be known as the man who had not only driven out the kings but also killed them, Marcus Valerius spurred his horse and charged towards Tarquinius with a spear. Tarquinius managed to avoid the attack by retreating among his companions. Meanwhile, as the Romans began to lose ground, the dictator Postumius realized the severity of the situation and the need for drastic action. He ordered his bodyguard to kill anyone who attempted to flee the battle, which forced the Romans to abandon any thoughts of escape and focus only on the enemy. The dictator's cohort then entered the fray and attacked the exhausted exiles, who were now no match for the Roman strength and morale. The Romans were able to turn the tide of the battle and massacred the exiles. During the battle, there was another clash between captains. The Latin commander, seeing that the battalion of the exiles was about to be surrounded by the Roman dictator, took some men from the reserve and moved to the forefront. Titus Arminius, who was the second in command on the Roman side, saw them coming and recognized Mamilius among them, who was unmistakable due to his clothes and weapons. Arminius attacked Mamilius with more force than the Magister Equitum had done before and killed him with a single shot that pierced through his body. However, as Arminius was undressing the corpse of his opponent, he was struck by an enemy weapon. Although he was transported from the field as a winner, he died while receiving first aid. After this, the dictator realized that the infantry was exhausted and needed a boost to their morale. He ran towards the knights and urged them to dismount and join the fray. The knights obeyed and jumped off their horses, rushing to the front line with their shields. This action by the young Roman nobles fighting alongside the infantry boosted their morale, and they were filled with renewed vigor and determination. With the knights and infantry fighting together, the Romans were able to control the brunt of the Latin attack, causing their line of battle to split and lose ground. The knights remounted their horses and pursued the retreating enemy, with the infantry following close behind. After the fierce battle, the Roman dictator Postumius sought to honor the gods and show gratitude for their help. He decided to dedicate a temple to Castor, the divine twin who was believed to be a protector of Rome's cavalry. This was a way to acknowledge the divine assistance the Romans had received during the battle. Additionally, Postumius promised rewards to the first 2 soldiers who would enter the enemy camp. The promise of rewards and the dedication to the god served as a great morale boost for the Roman soldiers, who were already inspired by the presence of their leaders on the front lines. With renewed vigor and determination, they charged at the enemy with great force and succeeded in winning a crushing victory. The Latin forces were defeated, and the Romans emerged victorious, having conquered the field of battle. As a result of this triumph, the dictator and Magister Equitum returned to Rome, where they were given a triumphal procession to celebrate their victory. The Roman people celebrated their triumph as a symbol of their military prowess and dominance over their enemies. The promise of rewards and dedication to the gods showed that the Romans believed in the importance of acknowledging and honoring the divine forces that they believed played a role in their success, and this helped to strengthen their sense of identity and purpose as a people. After the Battle of Lake Regillus, the Roman Republic experienced a period of relative peace and stability. The consuls who were appointed during this time, such as Quintus Cloelius, Titus Lartius, Aulus Sempronius, and Marcus Minucius, did not face any significant challenges from external threats. The Latin League, which had been dealt a heavy blow in the battle, was unable to mount any significant resistance against Rome. In 495 BC, the news of the death of Tarquinius reached Rome. He had died in Cumae, where he had taken refuge after the defeat of the Latin forces. This news further solidified Rome's supremacy over the Latins. According to a popular legend, the twin gods Castor and Pollux had fought alongside the Romans in the battle, disguised as two young horsemen. In honor of their supposed aid, Postumius ordered a temple to be built for them in the Roman Forum, at the spot where they had watered their horses. The Battle of Lake Regillus remained a significant event in Roman history and was celebrated in various forms over the years. In the 19th century, the battle was immortalized in Thomas Macaulay's Lays of Ancient Rome, a series of narrative poems that celebrated the heroic deeds of ancient Rome.